Welcome to the party. I'm not here right now, but I want you to listen very carefully. These guys are very funny, so pay attention. Enough talk. It's showtime.
Hello and welcome to Bags of Action. My name's Steve and my co-host is Pete.
Hello.
This episode we are doing part 1 of a Kurt Russellology. That's what it's officially called.
Catastrophe.
Oh, is that the new one?
No, I've just said it just then.
Okay. Kurt Russellology or Catastrophe, whatever you prefer, is the 1986 film, the classic Big Trouble in Little China, directed by John Carpenter. So that's part 1. Later on we'll tell you towards the end of the episode what the next film is going to be. Did you say you hadn't seen this before,
No, I've
Pete?
never seen this film before. Ever. And
I'm surprised, because it's in that kind of mid to late 80s hot spot.
I'm surprised as well. I think I didn't see it at the time it came out. Interestingly, I was reading up about the fact that it kind of was intentionally pitched against Golden Child. I saw Golden Child at the time. Didn't see this, and then kind of years later, I should watch that. And I think everyone told me how I'm weird. When people tell me something's really good, I tend not to watch it because I don't like disappointment. So I think the key with this as well is that if it's something from your childhood you didn't see when you were a child, it's a very different experience. Like I'm not a big fan of E.T., and people usually go like that, and it's like, well, why? No, I said because I think I was 28 when I saw it, and it's not the same experience as being a small child.
I was 3.
You were 3.
And I think it was the second film I ever saw at the cinema in my life. It changed me, Pete, as a man. It was emotional. Okay,
that's why you're always in the basket of the bicycle when Scott's riding his bike. I understand.
That's right.
I understand.
That's why it all becomes clear. Someone's got a Photoshop now. Come on, do it. Send it in.
Challenge.
That's it. Scott on the bike, me in the basket. Right, okay, so it'd be interesting then to talk about this film with you having not seen it before, and me seeing it, I think, a few years after it came out originally on video, when I used to go to the old video den and rent it. And then it's been on television a few times.
We're talking
since.
VHS or we're talking Betamax?
VHS, come on.
Okay.
The VHS is the only way to go.
With infrared or with the remote with the lead?
Infrared.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But I'm a little bit older than you, so I know people with Betamaxes and who had remote controls that had a wire on them. So if your sofa was too far away, you couldn't actually use it. You had to go on your knees.
Brilliant. Anyway. So, this film was directed by John Carpenter.
It was.
The number of credits to his name are ridiculous. We can go all the way back to the 1960s to mention some of them, but for those who haven't heard of John Carpenter, there's some amazing films you've got to check out, like Assault on Precinct 13, the original Halloween from 1978, The Fog, The Thing.
Vampires.
Yes, Escape from New York.
Yes.
They Live, which is another kind of late 80s horror film that he's famous for.
He's also responsible for some of my favourite soundtracks.
Because he
does his own music on all these films. On his keyboard, his little keyboard. On his little keyboard. Sorry.
We should point out that Pete is suffering from insomnia. Well, having about 3 hours sleep deprivation, and so he might start singing at some point during this episode.
Yes, the back and forth before the episode started between me and Steve on my side, made very little sense. So I apologise. I apologise in advance.
Okay.
Now, do you know what else the writer Gary Goldman has written other than this film?
No, go ahead. Tell me.
Total Recall.
The original?
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
And Next, starring Nicolas Cage.
Wow. Okay. 1 out of 2 is not bad. Is that it? Is that all he's done?
Yes, that is it. But it was actually, his original script was set in the 1880s, and it was a Western. And they brought someone else in, W.D. Richter, to...
Is he German? Or is
no,
that...
it just says Richter. I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry. To adapt it, and they made it modern because they wanted to compete with the Golden Child.
Right, okay. All right.
That's what the internet says, and
it must be true.
I have no reason not to believe it.
It must be true. Yes. Okay. So, Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes.
this is an odd film for lots of reasons.
Yeah.
And I'd forgotten some of the weirdness that we'll get into.
It took me quite a while to get my head around it. And the thing was, and I put this at the end of my notes, but I'll say it now. I watched this on, I think, Amazon Prime, in glorious 1080 HD.
Wow.
But
yes,
that made it really weird because no grain, nothing. Beautiful, lovely sound. What it felt like was a brand new film that was like a spoof. A bit like, I don't know if you've seen Kung Fury that was on Kickstarter a while ago. It felt like kind of like a modern. So I wish I'd watched it on a slightly damaged VHS copy. Maybe like an ex-rental copy that I'd bought. I think that might have made it feel more. Yeah, I think it was a bit too crisp.
A bit Black Dynamite, was it?
Well, I don't know. Anyway, let's go on. Cause it's,
okay.
Yes.
There's a lot going on in this film, so we're going to have to rattle through it and skip some bits, because otherwise we'll be here talking for longer than the film.
I have the longest notes of any of the films we've seen.
Me too, because like, normally I think, all right, then I could just write a little bit. And it's like, I had to write loads for this. All right, so the film kicks off with a after the events look back thing, where you've got Egg Shen, who's played by the very famous Victor Wong, who'll come on to talk about him more later, talking to a lawyer who's basically asking him about what happened and saying, you need to tell me about Jack Burton and what happened, and a whole city block goes up in green flame. You can't just get away with it. Who is Jack Burton? Where is he?
He saved us all.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, oh, brilliant. He's an amazing hero. He's done some fantastic things. And then as the film goes on, my opinion of him changed.
Well, I know, without jumping too far ahead, at different times in this film, I couldn't work out if I was in on the joke was on me, if I was the joke, or if there wasn't a joke.
Or you missed something.
Or it's completely gone over my head. I think if I'd been like 12, I don't think I would even thought there was a joke. Anyway.
So, a little bit of trivia before we go any further. Did you know who the lawyer was, the actor, and what else he's been in?
No.
So if I said the actor was called Jerry Hardin, Hardin, would you know any better?
No. Sorry.
Have you ever heard of the television show The X-Files?
I have. I'm aware of it.
Oh, you're aware of this show?
It's not Babylon 5. What's going on?
I know. I think he was in it, probably.
Sure, he must have been. Everyone was.
Probably. That was Ben Ollie Thornton. So he was the original Deep Throat in The X-Files. Okay. So all the way back at the beginning of the show, when Mulder is trying to find a way into what's actually going on with all the alien abductions, this guy that turns up and just hands him information and meets him in sort of underground car parks, and he was the original Deep Throat, and it was played by Jerry Hardin. There you go.
You are.
Yeah. A quick look, his IMDb says he wasn't in Babylon.
Oh, what? Well, let's
move on.
Let's move on. One day. Is he dead? No, if he's alive, it's possible.
He's okay, yeah. So then it cuts straight away to the present day.
Jack in his big rig.
Called the Pork Chop Express.
Yes.
Go on.
No, for me, like, I grew up in the country, and we had CB radios. We had one in the house. We had one in the car. My brother had one in his pickup. God, it sounds like I'm from Limerick. So I remember,
You're from Alabama?
I was called Black Shadow was my handle.
We should point out that Pete is in fact not black.
No, nor am I a shadow.
Hang on, sure that's a double negative, a black shadow.
Exactly, Jack, that's how clever I was when I was 10. Breaker. Yes, no, I had a CB radio, and also didn't take my CB radio on my honeymoon, thankfully, but part of my honeymoon was in San Francisco, Chinatown. So straight away I was like, wow, CBs and San Francisco, Chinatown. Right, I'm going to buckle up.
Excellent. Did you notice what was written on the front of the actual truck on the grill?
I think I did, but go on.
So there's an stenciled outline of a naked woman, sort of, lying back, and it just says, "Hauling ass."
Yes.
I thought, okay, now I know I'm in the 1980s. Yeah, that kind of thing wouldn't fly today. There's no way. Oh dear. So yeah,
start with a card. We go to a card game, don't we? Then.
Yeah. So we hear Jack talking on his card, his CB radio, giving experience, giving his wisdom to the locals, and then he goes to Chinatown and does a drops off his.
So he always calls himself in the third person, doesn't he?
Yeah. And old Jack thinks you should do this. If Jack's taught and learned anything in his many years on the road, Jack also needs to go to the toilet. Jack will be right back. Stop doing it.
I think by the end of the opening credits, I was like, this is going to be one of the greatest films I have ever seen.
Let's find out at the end if you were right. So yes, he goes to Chinatown. He knows them. I like the fact that he's not... Oh, they make like you're an outsider. You don't belong.
No, he's very, very integrated, isn't he?
He's brilliant. He's part of the community. They all know who he is. He sits and plays cards with them. He drinks the beer and gambles, but he's not, hey, you're cheating us, or he doesn't accuse them of cheating. And it's not, it's very not confrontational. They're losing to him and they don't like it, but they don't accuse him and try to stab him or anything. So it kind of does away with some of the stereotypes that we've seen in films around the same time.
Definitely. And I think that's one of the things about this film is that, well, again, because everything's kind of reversed, it's, he doesn't feel too stereotypical in that way. But he's, it reminds me how much I like Kurt Russell as an actor. He's very cocky, very funny with his sunglasses and his cap on. But I think you warm to him in any role he's in.
I think so. So it's him and his mate, Wang Chi, are playing cards. Wang owns a restaurant, and he's lost a lot of money to Jack, about $1,000. Right. And he says, double or nothing, Jack, double or nothing, because he needs the money for something. And Jack agrees. He tries to talk him out of it, saying, look, you just, and he says, no. So he tries to do this thing where he cuts a bottle in half with a knife. It doesn't work. And Jack is like, okay, double, you got to pay me double. But he hasn't got the money on him, of course.
Mm-hmm. He has to go to the airport.
Well, he goes into the airport to pick up someone, and Jack agrees to go with him, because I'm not letting you out of my sight until I've got the money.
Yep.
And so he says, so what are we going to the airport for? And they're going to pick up a woman.
Yes, he's going to get pick up his fiancée, who is not Kim Cattrall, but she's there as well. I love that kind of point, particularly in older films. You go, someone I recognise. You are a bigger character than they're letting on. Mm-hmm. And then we see some a street gang of punks.
Yeah, and they've got the classic, the huge chunky sunglasses. And the leather jackets. I almost expected the kind of MC Hammer pants, but they didn't have them, sadly. I was slightly let down by that, but never mind.
But it's a bit confusing, because Kim Cattrall's friend is waiting for her friend.
Yes.
And Wan is waiting for his fiancée.
Yeah, and it's a bit weird. Her character's waiting for this young girl, they're waiting for his fiancée, and Jack spots Kim Cattrall, and he's like, oh, hello. And he sidles over to her and starts trying to chat her up, and she's having none of it. And then it all goes a bit weird. So this gang tries to grab the girl that Kim's waiting for.
Yep.
And Jack
steps in, doesn't he?
Yeah, he manages to get punched on his face, and the guy pulls out a blade and starts whipping it around. And then they ignore the girl and grab Wang's fiancée, Miao Yin, and run off with her instead. Mm. So it's all a bit of we don't want that girl, we'll take her instead, yeah, and they run off with her, and then suddenly you've got Wang Chi and Jack now trying to get his girlfriend.
Yeah, and the street punks drive straight at them. Jack pushes Wang out of the way, and it's son of a bitch must pay. And then Wang knows Kim Cattrall's character already.
Yes.
And we find out that she's a lawyer. And then we see a bus tour with the guy from the start of the film driving the bus.
Good old Ed.
Yeah. And at this point, I was very confused.
It takes, until you get to
Green eyes.
Yeah, until you get to that, it doesn't really start to make sense. Essentially, the essence is that his fiancée has been captured, they have to try and get her back. That's the core of the film. All the other stuff around it, you've just got to go with it. You've just got to go, okay.
It's almost like the first 20 minutes is, if you were in the arcade playing a game, it's the bit you can skip if you want to. You've got the choice of the backstory bit. And probably the first time you're in the arcade, you'll watch it. Every other time, you're just going to skip it. And then, because this film does feel like a computer game. It does feel like you're going through levels.
Levels, yeah. So, Jack and Wang chase after him in the Pork Chop Express, these gangsters. They see where they've gone into the heart of Chinatown, into the areas that Jack's never gone before. Yep. And he's squeezing down really tight alleyways, and then she gets to a square and just kind of stops. And they see a procession coming out.
Funeral procession in white robes, isn't it?
All these guys, and Jack's worried. He's like, "Who are they guys?" No, don't worry, they're good guys. They're the so-and-so clan.
We noticed a familiar face at this point. Do you remember? Do you know who that was? Something we've talked about not that long ago.
Absolutely. Yes, I most certainly do. Well, he doesn't. He turns up in a second. So the good.
Yes, sorry.
Sorry. You're only a second ahead. So the good guys turn up, and Jack's like, "So we stay here and wait for them to pass." But wait, what's this? Another group of armed people with guns and swords turn up, and they've all got red turbans on and red kind of dressing on their uniforms.
That's right. I've got here. They shoot the white-robed men.
Yeah, Wang basically says, "Look, stay out the way. There's going to be a gang fight. We just stay here and try not to get caught into it." And one of the men in the red is, of course,
Al Yong.
Absolutely. I didn't realise how many films.
Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, and of course, Last Action Hero, which is the last time we talked about it.
Yes, and of course, so this is a John Carpenter film, and this is not the only film he's been in. Ooh. The John Carpenter film with Kurt Russell. Do you know what else he was in?
New York?
I think it was Escape from LA.
Okay.
So he's done everything. He was in 24. He's obviously said he was in Lethal Weapon. He was in Deadwood, the TV show. This guy's been in everything.
The new Sven-Ole Thorsen.
He's a legend, that guy. He's an absolute legend.
We should get him on.
Is he still alive?
Across the internet. I love the fact you think that's the only reason we might not be able to get him on.
Well, yeah. Why not?
What are you doing next Thursday?
We'd like to come on and talk about stuff. No.
He has.
Well.
IMDb says he has amazing martial arts skills, wispy black hair, and a Fu Manchu moustache.
Oh man, he's got a cult following, and I don't blame him.
1952. His most recent film is called Awesome Asian Bad Guys.
Oh, that was only last year.
Where he played Al, which I'm guessing means it's like...
It's himself.
It's himself. Oh, yeah.
He's been using a Scorpion King, using Bill and Ted. Man's a legend. Anyway, and this he's playing Wing Kong Hatchet Man. In fact, they're all called Wing Kong Hatchet Man. All the men in red.
Okay. Must be confusing.
Yeah. Anyway, so they have a massive fight.
They do.
Jack sticks his nose in and
I've put Chinese standoff, which I'm not some variation on Mexican standoff. Yellow robes versus black robes, big fight. Jack's just an observer, but there are lots of recognisable actors and some great fight choreography.
It was a really good fight scene. I really liked it, and it was quite brutal as well,
especially for like a family-ish film.
Well, I think it kind of at this point, I think it deviates from ever being a family film. It goes from the 15 border creeping up to maybe an 18 rating, because when they're fighting with someone, they don't just put the blade and stab someone. You see it go past their armpit and go, "Oh no, I've stabbed." You see someone grab their arm and bend it the wrong way, and there's popping sounds and snapping of bones, and people die. They don't just fall over, and it's pretty nasty stuff.
Yeah, it is, and I wasn't expecting that at all. I think in my head, it's always a 15. In my head, it was more like a PG film. I think that's one of the reasons I'd never watched it. I'd always thought it was a much tamer film. But no. But I remember I was sitting there going, "Oh, what's that guy from? Oh, hang on. What's that guy from? Oh, no, what is that?" And everyone that came on screen virtually, it's like, I know this person from somewhere. But I could have just spent like an hour and a half reading IMDb, but I carried on. Because
excellent.
There was green vapour and men in wicker hats.
Yes, so there's an explosion of green fire that breaks up the fight. And then 3 men turn up in giant hats.
Yes.
Which is... So they descend from the sky.
Yeah. And this was reminding me... It felt very kind of monkey magic at this point.
It did,
A program I absolutely adore. And it really had that kind of feel, which I really like the fact because you've got to think this is a long time before something like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon made that kind of fighting on wires and stuff, more popular in kind of and with a Western audience. So this film's quite ahead of its time, really.
I think
bringing
so.
that kind of stuff through to a mainstream-ish Hollywood movie.
And the three guys are essentially bulletproof because some of the Wing Kong and other guys shoot them and the bullets do nothing. One of them comes down out the sky as if he's on a fireman's pole, but the pole is lightning. He just kind of descends whilst holding a bolt of lightning. And the other two have got other powers that we come on to explain. But Wang knows who they are. He says they're the three storms, I think he says.
That's right, because it's lightning, thunder, and
rain. Yeah. I kept getting mixed up with who was who, apart from lightning. Yeah. But it became more obvious as it went on.
And they've got their own special weapons each. They throw at people. There's lots of somersaulting off roofs while Jack tries to drive off, and then he runs over another very familiar actor.
He drives over. He seems to drive over a man, and then except the man isn't dead because as soon as he's gone past him, he looks in his mirror and the guy's still there again.
It's like, hang on, that's James Hong.
Yeah, and
from Blade Runner.
And Wang's going and saying, "Who's that?" And he goes, "Don't worry about it." And it's Lo Pan, and he doesn't know what the hell is going on. And at this point, Jack is freaking out, and I would be if I was him, to be honest.
Yeah, and then there's eye lasers and mouth lasers.
Yeah, I really didn't know. He's saying, "Don't look at him, don't look at him." And Jack, of course, looks at him and starts to go blind a bit. And they just run. They get out of the truck because there's nowhere for the truck to go. They get out and just run. Jack's partially blinded. Wang's guiding him. They run around the corner. And who do they run into? The bloody man who grabbed his fiancée.
Yes.
They're not happy.
They're not happy at all.
And then they just kind of run.
And they hide, and then Jack's in his trademark vest.
Yes.
And off they go to the Hotel Dragon in the Black Pool.
I thought they go and go to the restaurant first, don't they?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, that's true. And he's on the phone in the kimono.
Yeah, so he's basically saying that his truck's been stolen. He's at the restaurant with Wang and his uncle, and they're trying to... It's a bit of battle exposition. His uncle's saying, "Oh, Lo Pan, no, he's this and he's that, and he's dangerous, and he's a myth, and he's not real."
I think that was a bit like half a film. Like, okay, the exposition is part of the joke. But I think it must. I don't know, and I don't know whether it's deliberately riffing on kind of Chinese films that do that, or whether it's just part of a joke. But at first I was like, this is written terribly. Everyone's just telling you what's happening. But then it actually became very funny that anyone who walked in the room said, "Who's that?" "Well, you'll never guess who that is. They were born over here, and the legend tells you that this happened to them." And then it does say, again, if I'd seen it as a kid, fine, but I think now I was like, it took me a long time to kind of realise that it's not a spoof.
No,
it's parody, but it's knowing, it's winking at the audience a lot.
Yes. And then Gracie Law turns up, who's a lawyer.
Great name.
Come on, how on the nose is that? Gracie Law, the lawyer, turns up, and of course she knows everything. She says, "Oh, what's happened to Ming Yao?" "Well, I'll tell you. She's been sold to the White Tigers. The White Tigers run this restaurant, and they've got this thing, and blah blah blah. And I can take you there, but we need to get her back. But they know my face. We need someone else to go in. Who can we get that they don't know?"
And Wang's friend turns up, and it really threw me because he sounds just like John C. Reilly.
What, his cousin?
Yeah,
his cousin Eddie.
Yeah. I put here lots of expositions. I'm hoping it's intentional.
Yeah, yes, it's a bit weird. So then they say, "Okay, we're going to take you to this place where we think they've got Miao Yin," and so Jack goes in dressed as essentially a geek.
Yeah. And like a boring salesman with glasses on and a suit.
And he introduces himself as Henry Swanson.
Yeah, it's very A-Team. It's very A-Team. It's like Face or Hannibal. It
is. But the fact that Gracie Law drives up in a giant pink Cadillac with fins and that's their undercover car parked outside what essentially
And
turns out
Kim
to be a
Cattrall has
brothel.
got a friend who's a female reporter for no apparent reason.
No.
Again, though, and I think more I think about it, maybe it's tropes. It's like, oh, she's a lawyer, that's convenient. She's a reporter, that's convenient. Again, I think it's kind of riffing on the convenient things that happen in films, in a way. I think so. And it's obviously, at this point we find out that green eyes are very rare because Chinese, as they say, Chinese girls don't come with green eyes.
Yes, which is very weird. And Jack's there saying that he's looking for a girl for an evening bit of entertainment, and the madam's trying to sort something out. He says, I'm in the mood for something special, maybe someone with green eyes, and someone else is listening, and she runs off, and we see that Miao Yin is tied up in a room.
Yep.
And then the whole thing goes totally pear-shaped again.
And again, it ramps up, because at this point you think maybe it's going to settle down. It never settles down.
No.
Because the last thing I expected was for the whole building to shake, and for the green lightning to come down and the guy to appear.
So the roof blows off, there's holes in the ceiling, everyone thinks it's an earthquake, except outside in the street, it's fine. But then they look up at the building and see a giant green cloud descending over the whole of the building, and the three storms turn up again, riding down on the lightning and the thunder and the rain, which was really weird again. They break open doors, everyone's running out, they're all screaming, all the women, and Jack doesn't know what the hell's going on, but then they grab Miao Yin, sling her over their shoulder, and fly off into the sky with her again. Which is just, I was just like, what, why, what is going on? I don't know, I don't remember these guys.
How many times had you seen this film before? And how recent?
Twice,
really?
15 years ago,
okay.
20 years ago, more.
Fair play.
It's got to be at least 15 years ago. So I was thinking, why don't I remember them? I thought it was all about Jack, and it was all about him doing the stuff, which he gets to later, and you know, Egg, and I was like, what is going on? So I have no clue. And Jack, I think they've had a bit of exposition to explain
a bit.
Lo Pan and the magic and his history and stuff, but I'm still kind of, I'm none the wiser.
Yeah, well, they go back to the lawyer's office, and then, as I put here, is the exposition a joke? Because Grace and the reporter tell you loads. There's a massive info dump.
Do you know what the best thing is? They're talking to, so Eddie's explaining stuff about what's really happening and going on, and Margot, the reporter, says, and I quote, I must be so monumentally naive. And Eddie says, you are. That's it. It's like, wow. Okay. Right. So yes, you don't know what's going on. No, you don't. Oh.
And
right.
Gracie's hiding Tara, isn't she? The other girl from the airport.
Yeah, which they don't really do anything with her. They just kind of say, I explained the rules to her, so she got away and she was okay. And I'm thinking, yeah, but there was a whole building full of women that you've just, ran out. And it's a bit odd. They don't do anything with that character after this.
They don't.
She's not like a secret princess, or she's not like a famous warrior. She's just someone that was there to have Gracie Law be at the airport.
She didn't need, really.
No.
There we are. But now, I think this is the point where if you're playing it for the second time as a game, and you've pressed the skip, this is pretty much where it would start.
Oh, yeah. This is Double Dragon.
Yeah.
You've gone through the introduction of the girls being kidnapped. It's now time for the rescue.
You ready? I was born ready.
Born ready. This can't be the first time someone said that in a film.
I can't. I don't. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe. But
answer the postcard.
Again, if you want to get into a bad man's lair and you're not frightened of all the green smoke and the storms, dress up as electricians.
But what did they not actually do? Dress up.
No, that's true. Sorry, just say I am an electrician. That's a very valid point.
Fucking carrying a phone.
That's a very valid point. And it was
Jack's carrying a phone. That's his disguise to get in as a phone repairman. A phone, and they expect. At first, I thought this film is ridiculous because they got away with it.
Yeah.
All they did was pretend to be talking about phones whilst carrying a phone. Walk past the men in security who must have thought, wow, those guys are really convincing.
The men in security are like the Keystone Cops or something in this film.
You think at first. And it's like, and they get in and go, oh, that was easy.
Brutal.
Yeah. But no, they didn't get away with it, actually.
And then, at this point, we see the bus driver at Wang's uncle's place, and we find out he's the local authority on Lo Pan.
Mm-hmm.
So, I keep calling it this way, Egg.
Yeah, Egg Wen, I think it's called. Egg Shen, sorry, Egg Shen. Yes, he's the... That's just ridiculous. He starts talking about positive and negative furies and Lo Pan and how he's a myth and he's a man, but he's not a man. And he's a ghost playing at being a man.
I've put here, Jack's boots are hilarious.
His boots? Why?
I think he must get ridiculous cowboy boots. I don't know. Again,
pretty silly.
It's of the time.
Here's the weird thing, right? So Wang said he was going to go in, whatever happened, and rescue Miao Yin. He's like, I'm going in, I don't care. There's two of you guys, I'm going to go in. And Jack's like, hold on. Let's, try something. Don't go in guns blazing, and we'll see what we can do. So Jack helps them, and he walks in through the front door with the phone. Then they get in the lift and think they've got away with it, except the lift starts to fill up with water, right? Yep. And this is what's really weird. Wang then turns to Jack and blames him for getting him into this.
It's like...
He's like, oh, God, yes, it's all your fault. And I'm just there going, wait, what? No, you're the one who's going to rush in stupidly and die, and Jack at least got you past the cards on reception.
And then there's skeletons in the water.
Underwater.
There's rotting corpses. And then the Wicker Hat men pull them out.
Yes.
Which...
For some reason.
I don't think if they'd just left them, that would have been that. Why put it Red Impossible? What does that even mean? Red Impossible hits Jack in the stomach.
Red Impossible?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, no, so one of the Storm Lords, I think it's Thunder.
I don't think his name is Red Impossible.
No, so they're asking Wang questions, and Jack gets involved and says, leave him alone. And Thunder gestures with his hand and punches Jack in the stomach and flings him across the room without having touched him. At that point I thought, yeah, it's one of those guys again, except he's not... I don't think he's in his hat.
No, he's not. I got confused at this point whether he was one of the wicker-hatted Stormlords.
Stormlord.
And then they take them off in, wheelchairs/bath chairs.
But they're blindfolded.
Yes.
So, there again, I don't know really why, if they've already gone into the building and they knew that the elevator went down. Yeah. I don't know what they can't see. But anyway.
You are nowhere. Well, then you definitely don't need a blindfold.
And then an ancient old crone of a man comes out and questions them. And
he's 2,000
he wants to know about the girl. He keeps asking questions about Miao Yin, saying, who is she? What's her history? I need to know her heritage and if she is who he thinks she is.
That's right. And he sees Gracie and the others on the screen, doesn't he then?
Yes, they were supposed to wait outside, but they decided to rush in, and Eddie decided to help them get in.
I think he talks about his curse for the first time. He needs the woman to lift his curse because he's 2,000 years old.
And I love the way that Jack is so lippy and so disrespectful to him. Because it's David Lo Pan. He goes, well, Dave, let me tell you, Dave. He just calls him Dave, or he calls him... He doesn't care. The fact that they've been caught and trapped and they're in a chair and he's got a blindfold on and this guy can do whatever he wants. He's still giving him lip. I really like that.
Definitely.
Everything to lose, but he just doesn't care.
But he's working out his bearings, which is quite cool. And the others are in a lift.
They just somehow they managed to talk one of the guards at reception. Apparently, they're giving them the tour of the building. And they said, no. And then a man with a cigar in quite a smart suit turns up.
The more we talk about this film, the more it reminds me of when I did GCSE drama. And you'd be asked to just make up a story on the spot. And I tried to get through this door, and he wouldn't let me in, and I let through that door. And then they're gassed, aren't they, in the lift?
Except the man with the cigar, who's actually Thunder, is fine. He's like, oh yeah, it doesn't bother. The fact that he's bulletproof, I shouldn't have been surprised that knockout gas did nothing to him. He just sort of stands there and tells them to take him away.
And the black robe people carry them out, don't they?
Yes, the Wing Kong. And then Jack and Wang are locked in a sealed room still on the wheelchairs with the blindfolds on for some reason.
And then it's Wang's turn to be the exposition person, and he tells them the age-old myth told to them as children: sorcery, Chinese black magic. That's kind of all he says.
A story about Lo Pan from 272 BC, who was cursed, and sorcery is real, Jack. Black magic is real, Jack. And I'm thinking, at this point, Jack probably knows the fact that he ran over a man and he got up. Or he's seen a man come down out of the sky riding lightning. He's seen green fire engulf a building. Stuff he's seen at this point, I think Jack is probably a believer, or he's Scully.
That's true.
Maybe that's why Deep Throat's there, to convince Jack that it's actually real. Maybe he's the Mulder all along.
Well, it's possible. When Jack jumps on the back of Thunder,
after having escaped the chair dramatically by turning himself over.
That's right, because he's wriggling.
And he's got a knife in his boot that he allows to cut himself out. And
then
escape.
Thunder, who was already quite a large, imposing, impossible to beat man, then kind of hulks out and becomes even bigger. And then he ends up being sent down towards a big well in a wheelchair.
Yes, Jack is sent off balance, and I thought at this point that was it. He was a goner. He slides down the hill, and at the bottom there's a well, and he's just teetering over the top. And I thought, you're going to look down there, and there's going to be alligators, isn't there? Or there's going to be some kind of giant monster. There had to be. But there wasn't. No. It was just water. Yeah. And I thought, I felt slightly disappointed. Yeah. Given the way the film was going, I thought, there's going to be something down there that's going to reach up and just...
And there are things later which could have been in there.
Yeah. We'll come on to that. That was just weird shit.
And then, I'm not quite sure what happens next. Eddie's got a shotgun, Jack's got a machine gun.
Yes,
they've all got guns, and they go after... Well, no, Thunder goes after them, doesn't he?
Yes, so they run around shooting men and trying to escape and fighting Wing Kong on the way. And they're also then looking for Eddie and Martha and Gracie Law, who they find that have been held captive. Yeah. Did you notice what was different about the prison guards?
No.
When they find them eventually, when they find Gracie and the rest?
No.
They're all women.
Oh, yeah.
So all of the Wing Kong who were guarding all the prisoners were women.
Oh.
And so, at first, it's almost like Wang, when he's fighting them, and Eddie, it's almost like they don't want to punch a woman. Okay. Except that these are really hardcore Kung Fu women who are kicking the crap out of them properly. Like, proper, and I think Wang just kind of goes, sod it. And he just punches them out in the face. And him and Eddie basically deck the security, the prison guards, who happen to be women.
And Lo Pan shines light from his face at this point, doesn't he? And becomes his, ethereal, younger, magical self. He floats...
It's like a spirit version.
Yeah, he floats through a wall, and we see the girls levitated.
Yeah, which I still don't know why.
Well, it saves a lot of money on furniture.
Yeah, but think of electricity to keep her up there. Jesus.
That's tough. And he reveals he wants to become flesh again soon, which, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's 15.
We get some of that later.
And then Wang's fighting, and then Jack turns off his safety and shoots people, kind of by accident. Now, for here, does he really know what he's doing? Because, again, I think, because knowing this film and have heard about it, it's like, it's going to be one of the great action heroes, but it is all very accidental.
But do you know what he says? Because they're shooting various guards and things. I think it's Eddie or someone, or Wang says to him, "Is it the first time you ever drilled a man, or eventually you killed someone?" And there's this pause, and Jack goes, "No, of course not." And I'm thinking, now, was that bravado? And he's just, yeah, of course. Or there's actually more stories about Jack.
Well, yeah, it's weird, because he is like this semi-mythical character with the stuff that he says in the CB, and then here he swings along like on monkey bars which, like, the average person, I've tried that at the park, it's quite hard, but the average person can't do. But there's one thing here which didn't sit well with me. So Gracie is gagged and bound.
She's hogtied.
Yeah, whereas Margot has a pad and paper and a pen and is allowed to talk. And she's actually always like writing her article.
War and Peace.
Yeah, well, she's like, well, I'm going to write my article about this. It's like, well, it's like, well, she's a lawyer, dangerous, reporter, it's fine. I
think it's because she was very gobby and she was, they described her as a wildcat, and so that's why they hog-tied her, apparently.
Maybe. I think the other one, though, she's quite annoying. They should have gagged her. But I've got an expression here that could be taken the wrong way. Women warriors beating Wang. And his friend.
True,
it's true, it's factually correct.
Yeah, so Eddie and Wang beat the women security guards, help free the prisoners. But I like the fact that they rescue everybody. There's sort of all of these women that they've been capturing, I guess, or taking them off the plane or off the boat and essentially force them into prostitution, as we found out.
Taken is essentially a loose remake of this.
Taken wishes it could be this.
That's true.
Hey, Taken hasn't got any Storm Lords. Come on.
Well,
come on. There's no three storms in Taken.
They are off screen.
Well, he might have a very special set of skills. They've got lightning.
That's true.
Come on.
That is a very special set of skills. I will find you and I will cover you in green paper.
Well, but I feel sorry for Rain. What can you do? Get you a bit wet. Right. At least Thunder's kind of rock hard. You punch him and nothing happens.
I am slightly inconvenient.
I am moist.
Again.
It's back to Dr. Horrible all over again.
Yeah. And then,
why is everything wet in here? Bloody Rain. It's been round again. Look, my chair's wet. It's been sat down. My chair's all soggy. It took weeks to dry. This was suede. Oh.
So they dive into a pool to escape? Right.
Yes, there's lots of security guards shooting at them, lots of Wing Kong men with guns, and they dive in and start swimming away through a tunnel.
And then Jack kisses Gracie.
Well, it's really weird because they all escape through a narrow tunnel and Jack goes last, and Gracie's waiting for him. And it's this weird kind of relay thing because someone pops up and she goes, Jack? No, I don't know where he is. Okay, keep going. Next person. Wang? Jack? No. I think he's right behind me. Cousin Eddie? He's still right behind me. And then eventually Jack turns up. And she's so relieved, apparently, to see him.
Yes, she's so glad to be alive.
Yeah, blatantly, he's trying it on. And she's like, I'm not really sure, but all right, because I thought you were dead. I'll go with it for now. But it's not the classic I was remembering in terms of the fact that Gracie's on the cover with Jack clutching him in the poster in the sort of aforementioned trademark vest with a gun and a knife. He looks so badass on that poster. And so far, I haven't seen any evidence of that.
No. And I think, the joke is starting to become clearer.
Right.
I think.
You think?
Yeah. So Jack opens the door at this point. This is where he kind of starts to work on his own a little bit more. And the black, I can't call them the black robe guys. You're far better at remembering exactly.
The Wing Kong
are there. Tells everyone else to hide, and he takes them on his own and shoots them with his new gun.
Except he doesn't, though, does he?
Well, no, that's true. No, no.
So he tries to shoot them with his new gun, except he's got the safety on.
Yes.
Then someone kicks it out of his hand, and as he's going to retrieve the gun, Wang kicks the crap out
of
all eight of them.
Suddenly it's like, Wang's martial arts skills. He takes on Ao Long straight away, and they're all down, but Jack really has done very little. Yeah,
because then he turns around, he's finally got his gun ready, and they're all on the floor. And he looks at Wang, and Wang just kind of raises an eyebrow and was like, what were you doing? And he's like, okay, let's go. So they run out of reception, they rescue all of the women, except Gracie's lagging behind, and all the women get onto a tour bus, and just before she's about to get out of the building, something with very big hairy hands grabs her.
Elliot Gould. No. I've got here.
Is it Sven Ollie Thornton in a
Could have been. Do you know what? Let's pretend it was. I've got here. Grace is left behind at the mercy of a freaky creature from the sewer.
He's actually by the actor Noble Craig.
Nice.
That's his name.
Whereas, thank goodness it wasn't Nasty Craig, because she'd have been in trouble. It's Noble Craig. I'm just going to tie her up, put her down there, but I will treat her very well.
Well, he was playing Sewer Monster. There you go. Noel Craig is also known for films such as Reanimator 2 and The Blob. There you go. And Poltergeist 2, The Other Side. So that's he's got about 6 credits.
Good.
Nightmare on Elm Street 5. You know, he's done his time.
I'm impressed.
Anyway,
well, and then suddenly two of the Wicker Hat men. I'm sure again that's
Storm
not what they're
Lord,
called.
the Lord, Storm.
And this is when you see it for the first time. Your notes are never as good.
Yes.
And they're laughing, and then Lopan arrives in his wheelchair, and he goes, "She is very feisty. She has green eyes."
Which I hadn't noticed, and I was thinking, is that just because we've not noticed it, or they just put contacts on her at this point?
Yeah.
And he's going, 2 girls with green eyes? What can it mean? What can it mean? And I haven't got a bloody clue at this point.
Nice.
I had no idea. I had no idea what was going on.
Cool.
And then Egg is involved suddenly again.
Cool.
So they go to his shop, don't they, I think?
I'm going to call the police, Jack. You are not a one-man army.
Yeah, so Jack goes to talk with Wang and Egg, and a bunch of the other guys have turned up, warriors, to help them, and essentially said they're going to go back and rescue Miao Yin and Gracie.
Yep.
And then there's a weird kind of intercutting thing.
The Celestial Lopan?
Yes, so Lopan is essentially testing the women to see, both of them, to see if they pass this ritual.
He's put Gracie in with a levitating girl. Why doesn't he make her levitate? It seems unfair.
Well, yeah, he needed a chair maybe or something, I don't know. He can only afford one chair. But it's really weird. So you get this weird intercutting thing where Jack and all the other guys are making the long journey, not through the front door this time, through sewers and through a special tunnel and past secret passageways.
Which feels like Tomb Raider. Everything about this bit feels like Tomb Raider.
Yeah, they pass over a river, and he says, "Oh, what's that, oil?" And Egg says, "No, it is the black blood of the earth."
It's
like,
AKA
oil then? No. Rivers of black
I hear
blood.
black blood of the earth prices have gone up again.
They're up to about £1.06 a litre. Anyway, but yeah, so you got this weird intercutting thing where Lopan is testing the 2 women, and if they pass this ritual...
Well, he's got to marry a girl with green eyes, hasn't he, to become mortal. But there's something to do with a burning blade. And
this is the ritual. They have to pass this first, otherwise they're not worthy, and the curse won't be lifted, and he won't be made flesh. So both of them are being tested.
And he's starting to think at this point that it could be Gracie rather than...
Miao Yin, yeah. But he says... He's looking at both of them, and they both survive the ritual, and he looks at them and goes, "Oh, I will marry them both."
Yes.
So you randy old bugger.
High five for Lopan.
Self-high five. Yeah.
Lopan, high pan. So at this point, I remember thinking, hang on a minute. Now, at the start of this film, Egg Shen said, "We owe everything to Jack. You know, he saved all of us."
As all, yes.
And I'm thinking, really? There's not that long of this film left, and up to now, he's not been particularly heroic. He's talked a good talk, but Wang is really the hero.
Yes.
And I put, is that the joke? So every paragraph is like, is this the joke? Is that the joke? I thought, Hulk Wicker Hat Man is doing a fighting display for the green-eyed women.
Yes, so all of the 3 storms sort of do some fighting, doing turns, and then the women have to grab the blades, and then they both essentially pass. But here's the weirdest thing, right? So when Jack and the rest are doing their Tomb Raider bit to get through the secret tunnels and passageways, at one point, for no particular reason, right, they get to a tunnel, and one of the men with them gets grabbed by a giant monster thing
from under the water,
It's like a giant cricket slash...
It takes one of the roadmen, Jack is shocked, but they carry on.
Yeah, because Egg throws something at the entrance and goes, "He will not bother us again." I'm thinking, really? Really? You've got that giant fucking creature, and you threw a flashbang at it, and that's it. It's done.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And the both women have been prepared for marriage, though, aren't they? Their eyes go blank.
Mm-hmm.
We find out that the second of the storm gods has much longer hair than we realised under his wicker hat.
I think I'm trying to remember which one it is. I think
it's the middle one.
I think it's Rain.
Or Rain. Long hair Rain.
Yeah,
no,
it's Rain, played by Peter Kwong.
Well, he may not have the greatest power, but I think he may be the most stylish.
I think so. Good old Peter Kwong. He was in The Golden Child, you know.
Well, yeah, he must have been hot-footing it from set to set.
He had a busy year that year.
So they're crawling through the tunnel. Jack has a knife in his mouth.
Yes.
To carry. And I put here, this is all one giant reversal. He's the outsider and really a sidekick. This reminds me of Flash Gordon.
It does, in some ways.
Flash Gordon was the first film I saw in the cinema. So, yeah, it has got that kind of campy, knowing vibe. And
then as they're sneaking through the tunnels, they see a giant floating eyeball-y thing that Egg recognises and goes, "Oh, it's a sentinel, it's a guardian. Whatever it sees, Lo Pan sees." And at this point, I'd seen so many weird things that I just kind of went, "Okay."
Yeah.
I just accepted it. I just kind of, I didn't even bother questioning it. I just thought, fine, that's okay. And I think that's one of the keys to the John Carpenter films. You just have to go with it.
Yeah.
No matter what weird things come up. They might surprise you, but you just got to accept them and say, okay, great,
there's a little bit of a Star Wars vibe as well at this point. Kind of.
Really?
I think, just the kind of, corridors.
Well, the fact that he feels a disturbance in the Force and Lo Pan sees them coming because he can see what the Sentinel
Well,
sees.
only a dream can kill a dream, Stephen.
Apparently. Yes. So, Gwen says.
And I think that because everything is so mystical, but Jack is so kind of not that, and he's still wisecracking right the way through. Even though potentially both these women are going to be married and then killed, or at least one of them's going to be killed. And he's got one to kill, one to keep. Kind of thing.
Yeah, so there's the big ritual where Lo Pan is going to marry them.
In the wedding chamber that looks like Castle Grayskull.
Oh, this set is amazing. It's like a shopping mall crossed with Castle Grayskull because it's got a giant six-handed statue thing that's grey, except the outside, the outline of it is glowing blue neon. You've got a giant skull with steps that actually turns out to be an escalator. And there's a bit where they're descending down this slope, and I'm thinking, oh God, it's amazing, except when it pans around you realise it's just an escalator. And I was so disappointed. I thought they're floating. Lo Pan's powers are amazing. No, it's just an escalator.
I think as well, isn't it? Because there's a lot of swearing at this point and stabbing and what have you. But if this was made now, they would tone it down to get a 12.
Do you think?
Because kind of boring day jobby stuff. But the amount it's just because that's who's going to the cinema is like pre-teens are the ones going to the most films. So with a lot of films, they try and avoid a 15 now, which is crazy because when I was 12, I was watching 18s.
It's true.
It's true. But hey.
So they've all drank.
Oh, medicine, his 6-demon bag.
Yeah, so Eggs made this concoction that's apparently supposed to make them really strong and powerful and make them see things that they couldn't normally see and feel things they couldn't normally feel to make them able to fight all of the
and also able to work a Buddha's stomach lift because it seems very easy to get in there. They go into a lift, press a button, pop out the Buddha's stomach, and there they are in the middle of the wedding ceremony.
Yeah. It's convenient.
It is convenient. This is the moment of truth that is the needle of love.
Mm-hmm. And Wang wants to rush in, of course, but Egg Shen saying, no, wait, because until he's flesh, there's no point.
We can't kill him until he's mortal.
Yes, so they have to actually wait until he's done part of the ritual, and it seems to be working. He's got this needle and he's stabbing it into Miao Ying's arm,
Yep.
and it's not draining the life essentially. It's sort of transferring some of her essence because it's making him flesh. He cuts his hand to see what happens, and he starts to bleed, and then he starts squawking and like. I almost expect him to start clucking like a hen because he starts going a bit mental or break out into song. There again, that wouldn't have surprised me at this point. In this set, with what we've seen so far, if it had turned into a musical, I would have just been okay with it. I just would have gone, yep, okay, carry on, as you were. Maybe have the words on the bottom of the screen with a bouncing sentinel to help you sing them.
Or a little bouncing sword.
Yeah.
Would have done.
Yeah.
And then if we were in any doubt whether Jack was hapless, he shoots. And the debris above him drops on his head and knocks him out.
Yep. So Wang and everybody else race into the fight. Jack is unconscious.
And there's an awesome fight between
the
Wang versus long-haired Wicker Man. Rain, we're saying, aren't we? We think it's Rain.
It's Rain.
Yeah, they have an amazing sword fight. Again, if you think this was 1986...
Yes.
That's the kind of thing you see in films now. And people go, oh, wow. And it did, again, kind of ahead of its time.
Yeah, it's wire work. It's them fighting. It's them jumping through the air with swords. It's amazing choreography. It's kung fu. It's backflips. It's epic. It's just a really good kind of pulpy fight.
Peasant magic.
Yes. So Egg Shen's gone from being a quite competent guy who knows what's going on, lots of battle exposition, to suddenly being a powerful sorcerer.
And at this point, I'm like, well, why didn't you bloody do this before? Why didn't you do this before any of this happened? If you're the expert on Lo Pan, why didn't you stop him? And also, you were the person at the start of the film in the lawyer's office thanking Jack, but currently you're both firing your magical powers and then fighting each other in celestial space.
Yes, so Lo Pan's got his kind of green magic, and Egg Shen's got his kind of purple magic, and they meet in the middle, and where the cloud builds between them, these two mythical, spiritual beings start fighting each other with swords.
Yeah.
So it's very kind of, it is kind of that Star Warsy moment almost, where the two figures fighting is almost like Luke and Darth Vader.
And it's, a little bit Harry Potter as well.
Yeah, with the weird magic and the Voldemort and all that kind of thing. And
everyone's copied this film.
They have. J.K. Rowling. What she know? So Jack, originally I thought, at this point, he's going to miss the whole fight and wake up afterwards.
And I thought, then if that's the case, what's all the fuss about?
Yeah, but Jack doesn't. He actually does. You wake up and
stabs the. Does he stab Rain or does Wang stab?
No. Wang does that. Wang kills Rain. Having a great fight and he kills him. Jack
takes Gracie into the lift.
He tries to rescue her. Doesn't really fight any of the men as such. I think he just kind of avoids them.
And she gets attacked by the creature, which she then kicks in the privates herself.
Yes.
Then they kiss.
And kind of says, see how you like it.
And then this is I think a quite nice kind of reversal from the old kind of matinee idol kind of films where they kiss and then he's got lipstick on his mouth.
Brilliant.
And then
so he runs up to Lo Pan and he's got this giant red smear of makeup and so Lo Pan's running off with Miao Yin and Thunder is there and Jack's giving him lip again with his gun and he's got this big red smear on his face. And
there's a bit here which I like to think they heavily lifted from for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right, go on.
Because he's like Jack Burton, and then you go, who? It's very like Star-Lord, who? It really reminded me of that.
It did. The fact that they've had him prisoner, they've done all this stuff to him, they still don't even know his name.
Yeah.
It was so kind of bringing him back down to earth. But in Jack's mind, he's the hero of the story.
Totally. And that arrogant white guy.
Yeah, this is it. But in Egg Shen's story at the beginning, he's saying, "Oh, Jack did this and Jack did that, and he's brilliant. He saved us all." And Jack's like, "Yeah, I did. I saved everybody."
I'm thinking, there's 5 minutes left. I've seen none of this.
So Jack goes to What is he? I think he
He's up in his Lopan's.
He's got his gun.
The
He's got a knife,
it's
hasn't
the
he?
chamber with the gongs in where they did the sword test before.
Yes.
Yes.
So Jack's got a knife, and he throws it at Lopan, who catches it and goes, ah ha ha ha! It's a good knife. I like it. And throws it back at Jack. Jack catches it out the end, throws it back at Lopan, and gets him in the forehead and kills him.
Which there we are.
And I was like, whoa, wait, what? I wasn't that expecting it, because Gracie's picked up a spear, and she's sneaking around, and I thought she was going to kill Lopan, whilst Jack was distracting him. I thought that was going to be the twist.
Yeah, and it's weird, because you think, well, you know, again, conventional wisdom in these things is that Lopan is kind of the big boss, and he should die last, really. Whereas, but his death makes the statues all fall over. But then Wang is still fighting against Thunder, who I guess is the toughest of them all. So he...
No. So Rain's dead.
Yes. There's always... Like...
Thunder's here with Miao Yin.
He is.
He sees what Jack has done. Sorry. He sees what Jack has done to Lopan, and he gets upset.
He gets so upset that his head swells to the point that it explodes.
Well, he starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and they just start running. His feet and his hands blow up like balloons. And they just start. They run essentially. They get Miao Yin and they run. And I think Wang's there at this point as well.
Themselves up through a gap, don't they?
Yes, and there's only lightning left, and he starts levitating on his, his lightning pole. Not a euphemism. Up through the hole, and everyone's there. Egg and all of the other guys have escaped. They send up Miao Yin, they send up Gracie, they send up Wang, and Jack goes last. And he's nearly hooked on the foot by lightning, and then they drop a statue on his head.
That's right.
Which is just kind of, what? After all of that, this guy's bulletproof, he can summon lightning, he's some kind of eternal warrior dude, and how'd they kill him? Drop a statue on his head, mate. Yeah, that's it.
As well, they're running, the thing all the way through is that, which we haven't really mentioned, is Jack's kind of alleged reason for being there is to find his truck.
Yeah.
And then it's nowhere to be seen, and then he just runs out the building, and there it is.
Yeah, they're sort of escaping through the back up, they've gone up and up and up again, they're back to the main ground floor, and then they spot his truck. It's like, oh look, there's a truck. And they get it and
finds a spare keys and drives off.
But there's that great moment where he goes, my keys aren't here. And she goes, haven't you got a spare? And he's like, oh, wait, I have.
And then it kind of gets to the point that you've got Wang's kissing there are 3 couples by the end, aren't there? It's Wang and his fiancée are reunited.
Well, they're kissing in the truck. Yeah. And Jack's like looking, and Gracie's going, isn't that sweet? And Jack's like, yeah, great, whatever, I don't care. And
then, does it kind of cut to the next morning?
Then they're celebrating in the restaurant.
Oh, that's right.
Yay!
You're going to sell his truck and settle down. No.
Eddie's, making eyes at the reporter who's making eyes at him.
So they kind of, it feels like, okay, it's going to end with 3 couples. But no, he's not going to sell his truck and settle down. No horse shit. Puts his hats and his shades on, gets back in his truck, and we're back to the kind
Well, yeah, because Martha, the reporter, says, are you not even going to kiss her goodbye?
Yeah.
And he says, and I thought he'd say something else, or no, maybe he just kind of goes, no, and walks out. That's kind of it, because he's already said it wouldn't work out.
Yeah.
He'd already said, you'd want to do this, and I wouldn't want to do that. And she said, unless you could put a big house in the back of your truck, I don't think it would happen. It would really go. And then he's like, fair enough. And then, you're not even going to kiss goodbye? No. And walks out, and then he's back on the road in his truck on the CB. Old Jack Burton says, what you need is this. Old Jack Burton's tip for shaving is, don't use soap, use a good shaving foam. I recommend and it's just, he's gone back. And then, it's just like nothing's changed.
And what's on the back of his truck?
Oh, there's a hand and a hairy thing. It's the sewer monster. It's Noble Craig. And roll credits.
I get the feeling that they would have been big trouble in other places had this done better. Because the fact that he does the kind of nomadic walk off, big trouble in Milton Keynes, for example, because he does that whole nomadic kind of walk out, leave her there kind of thing, and because he's kind of the hero in his own mind, but he's really just kind of wandering through other people's stories. there's potential for this to have run and run, but we'll come on to why it didn't in a moment, I guess.
And so I almost think, the very beginning, you've got Egg Shen talking about Jack and all this thing. You leave Jack alone. I almost think, at first I thought he's saying that because they want to keep the idea of magic and everything safe and make Jack the hero, except that he says to the lawyer, well, magic's real, of course it's real. And the lawyer says, well, I don't believe he's sure. And then he shows him real magic.
It starts small. It's a bit weird. And you do get the feeling you almost wanted the film to end with Egg Shen back at the lawyers to bookend it.
But they don't go back to that at all.
Not at all. And
which I just didn't understand. I just thought, right.
But again, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Because, again, the more we talk about it, if it is in some way riffing on maybe kind of Oriental films at the time with maybe a lack of what you'd expect in a Western filming kind of structure, maybe that's the kind of thing they're kind of... I don't know. But I noticed at this point, when the credits were rolling, the name of someone I recognise as an actor and kind of fight coordinator, Jeff Imada.
No, go on.
Let me look him up. He's been in loads. It's not so much. He's in it as well as one of the characters, but he in the Stunts in Fight Club.
Right.
He's still like the fight coordinator on the Total Recall remake, Hannah, Iron Man 2, so stuff, Tropic Thunder, so recent stuff. Actually, loads of stuff. But then in terms of actually appearing in things, he's also been in 40 films as an actor. He's in Sons of Anarchy.
Wow, okay.
But then in terms of older films, Big Trouble in Little China, he played Needles in this. He's in Beauty and the Beast. What do I know him? They Live. He's a male ghoul in that. He's the store clerk, uncredited in Point Break.
Oh, okay.
So I think he's one of those fight coordinators that people go, do you want to be in it? Do you want to be in it? He was Huey in Double Dragon. Saigon Shadow and Escape from LA. There's a theme running here. Definitely a lot of John Carpenter films. Anyway, Jeff Imada is a name that I recognise from other stuff.
So, go on then. What did you even talk about why it didn't do so well? You mentioned.
Just why they didn't make another one was because this was a film that in the cinema didn't do very well at all, but has done very well in people's homes. So the budget for the film was 20 million and the box office was 11 million. And it was seen as a flop, but it was released the same weekend as Aliens.
Ouch.
And they think that a lot of people went, they can go and see this one instead.
Really not the same kind of a film though either. One's jokey, silly, off your face, and the other one's an action blockbuster that scared the crap out of you.
True.
And did, galactic box office and led to the franchise going on for many years.
To hell with you. Shut up, you idiots. It's time to give a score. Do it. Do it now.
So, I'm not really sure what to say next about this film, to be honest. Should we get to the score and talk about what we thought about it overall?
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things I was going to say about offshoots from the film. I mean, let's talk about that after the scores. Let's talk about the scores. Yeah, let's do our scores now, actually.
Okay, go ahead. You go first.
Okay, all right. Well, I hadn't seen it, so I don't have that kind of nostalgic kind of warm glow that you get when you watch something like Goonies. So I lose that thing. I only watched it once. I kind of wish I'd watched it a second time because having replayed it through my head while we've been talking, I actually enjoyed it more talking about it than I possibly did watching it. I think it was so different from what I expected. So different that surprised me. But the more we talk about it, you've got to remember, this was 1986. And the fight choreography, the action was ahead of its time. It's very kind of meta or postmodern, but probably people at the time didn't really realise that. And I think for those reasons, I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay. So I've seen this very, very obviously just in the last few days, and the last time I saw it has to have been maybe 15 years ago, and maybe the odd snatch here and there on television, but very, very little since the original thing. So I have got the nostalgia feel. I have got the love of Kurt Russell from all those films and this one from all those years ago. But it's very different in my mind to how I remembered it. I see, in my mind, I'd remembered him being the epic hero. Yeah. maybe I've started to mix up Kurt Russell in some of his other roles, like Escape from New York, with this one, and I convinced myself that he was the great hero, Jack Burton, when in fact he was just quite lucky. Other people did all the hard lifting and all the work. He had one great moment where he killed Lopan with a knife, but apart from that, he didn't really save every one of us, like Flash Gordon. That was the cutest thing there.
It's not happening. I'm too tired. That's a film I rewatched not that long ago, and that wasn't like I remember it at all. And I watched it, I thought, did I honestly see that when I was 8 in the cinema? What the hell must I have thought?
You were eating Smarties, and Smarties in the old days, for those who don't know, were really good and full of all sorts of natural colourings and flavourings that did weird things to your mind. Now, they just taste a bit chalky and they're awful.
Well, I remember Flash Gordon was seeing... What's his name? Peter. Somebody from Blue Peter. There was a Blue Peter presenter in it.
Yes.
And the scene with him in his hand and the thing frightened the life. I didn't sleep for weeks.
And Timothy Dalton.
Yeah.
Put your hand.
That film is so much camper and so much more risque than I would have obviously realised at 8 because I wouldn't have had a clue.
You want to see a homoerotic film? Go and watch Top Gun now.
True.
Good grief.
I watched about half of that on TV the other day, and I thought, this is not holding up as well as I would have expected.
It's such a kind of weird film now.
It's a poor man's Days of Thunder, let's be honest. I've just been fired for Bags of Action.
The recommendation that you made, well, you mentioned the film. I'm not going to even say what it was, but Pete posted a clip to a trailer for a forthcoming film, comedy/action film, and I said, yes, I'm never ever going to look at that one on Bags of Action. If you want to find out what it is, you have to go into the forums on Facebook. There you go. There's a tease. Anyway, haven't done my score.
Sorry.
I'm actually going to give it 3 bags as well. It wasn't as good as I remembered. It was a lot weirder than I remembered. I just kind of lost the plot several times because I think it lost the plot. I don't know if it was script changes or if it was always this weird to begin with, or for whatever reason. I think it was just it hit some very weird notes, and looking at it now, people would probably like it for lots of different reasons they would at the time.
Yeah. I think it's a film I'd like to see interviews and like extras about to kind of understand what they were going for, because it's a cult classic, which, like an awful lot of John Carpenter's films. So, he said he always wanted to make a martial arts film. So,
well, he certainly did that, and the special effects were quite fun, and some of the other things, but it played with a lot of the tropes and didn't do the things we would have expected.
No.
And as we said, maybe that is what hurt it in some ways.
Yeah.
The fact that he wasn't the great hero and that he didn't rescue the women, really. It was Wang who saved all the people, who fought the storms, who killed, and all this kind of great stuff. And Jack was kind of just an everyman that got sucked into it and did a couple of small things. People weren't expecting that at the time. So maybe John Carpenter was just ahead of his time, and the writers were, by trying to do this kind of film in the mid-80s.
Yeah, I think so. Because now he's almost... Yeah, I think now it would go down very well. There are people... an awful lot of people that love this film. I kind of wish I had seen it first time round. I think that would have been different.
I think this is one of the only 2 films that I've actually watched where I actually thought Kim Cattrall was quite attractive.
I nearly said that earlier, but I didn't want yes. Maybe it was the green eyes, but no, she was like, oh, hello.
I remember this, and I remember her from Mannequin in 1987.
Of course.
The year after this.
1 year later, yes. So there's 2 things I was going to mention as well, is that if you're on Twitter, you can find Jack Burton bot, which just tweets lines from the film. And we didn't really get into much of the kind of dialogue, but there is some stuff that I think, again, on second viewing is very funny, like when he's on the phone to the insurance company about his truck and stuff, that these things get tweeted. So if you follow Jack Burton bot, then you're just going to get lines from the film all the time, and it's quite funny reading those in isolation. But also, did you know there are comics that are continuing the story?
No, so tell me more.
Yeah, from Boom. Boom Comics. Quite recently, actually.
Of continuing stories about Jack Burton, by the sounds of it.
I don't know if it's the stories that would have happened had there been more films, or they've just imagined what would have happened, but I've heard good things about it. Yeah, written by Eric Powell, I think, who, or certainly some of them have been. He's from The Goon.
Brilliant. Which nicely leads us into what our part 2 of our Kurt Russellology is going to be.
Segue into the catastrophe. So, I think we're going to stick not only with the same actor, Kurt Russell,
part 2,
but also the same director.
So 5 years prior to Big Trouble in Little China, teamed up probably for the first time, I think, in the 1981 film Escape from New York.
Yes.
Snake Plissken. So, the US president crashes into Manhattan, which is now a maximum security prison, and a convicted bank robber, Snake Plissken, is sent in to rescue him. So
it's set in the future in 1997.
Oh, wow, this is crazy. And we'll probably come on to this later, but have you noticed what the poster reminds me of? It's got a big fallen head of the Statue of Liberty.
Planet of the Apes.
A J.J. Abrams film.
Oh, okay. Cloverfield.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, that's what we're going to be talking about, Escape from New York.
You have been listening to Bags of Action. No bullshit. You'd better stick around for the next episode, because if you're lying, I'll be back.